After 20 years of building together through dust, deadlines, and damn good ideas, Pace and Adam invite you to join them for honest conversations about the home building world. Welcome to Build Connected, where experience meets insight, powered by Diamond Home Restoration.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Build Connected. I am Adam.
And I'm Pace.
And Pace, you, my friend, are in your motherland.
Back in the library, back in Sarah's office, on vacation on the lake, and it's a good place.
And you are on the lake in?
I'm in Maine right now, of course.
In Maine. And for those of you that aren't watching, but you're listening, you would notice that Pace is not wearing a hat today. This might be I'm telling you, is this first or second show where you're not wearing a hat?
Well, if you were paying attention, this is like 3 episodes in a row.
I was not paying attention. I was on vacation the last 2, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's right. Hey, here's a question. Since we just made it through the big 250 4th of July celebration, have you ever had any fireworks disasters?
Luckily enough, I personally have not. Nothing that really stands out in my mind where I was, almost lost a limb or almost hurt somebody else or did something. I did have a Molotov cocktail incident once when I was a kid.
Is that a quick story?
It's pretty quick.
Let's hear it.
We were young kids messing around with Molotov cocktails on this little private back lake. I honestly don't remember if it was me or my buddy that lit it and accidentally dropped it, and all of the gasoline that was on fire fell into the lake, and the top of the lake was on fire. and we were kids. We just freaked out and just got out of there. So I'm sure there were some neighbors that saw the top of a lake kind of on fire. That's it. That's all I remember.
Well, I guess I got a similar one. So back in college, we did this a couple times, but one time it went wronger than usual. We were having a bottle rocket fight. So you split your group into two opposing factions, right? And you've got like beer bottles, and you're dropping bottle rockets in them and shooting them at each other. And we were outside of someone's beach house, and I remember, I don't know who shot it. I don't think it was me. I think it was somebody else. But, you can't really aim a bottle rocket. When they come out of the bottle, they're going their own way, right? Somebody at the exact moment that the bottle rocket went off walked out of the upper story sliding door, and the bottle rocket flew into the door through the living room and exploded in the kitchen. And it was full of people, and it was bananas. We got in so much trouble.
Ah, that's a good one. Okay, so we're gonna kick things off with a product that we like. As you all know, if you've been listening, sometimes it's a product that we like that we haven't used, but we're intrigued by it. And this topic is more about kind of a 2-for-1, maybe a 3-for-1 that you get with a product. And in the past, you've heard us talking about zip sheeting, which is a sheet good that has a layer that is interwoven into the top of that sheeting. That is our WRB, also known as our weather resistive barrier. That's your kind of 2-for-1. They also make an R sheeting, which is the same thing, but it has a layer of insulation built into the panel. That's not the product that we're going to be talking about, but that's an example of kind of our 2-for-1. So this next product is really interesting. I actually came across it. The Build Show, a guy that's on the Build Show by the name of Travis, he talked about this. And when I saw it, I was like, wow, that's something I've never seen before. So I thought it'd be worth telling all you. But basically, it's an all-in-one product for your roof. Typically we're now talking about building better and tighter and insulating better. One of the techniques that we utilize now is to really insulate the exterior of your house and create that nice shell. And when we're doing a roof, a lot of times we'll use, say, mineral wool on the roof, and then, our sheet goods on top of that, and our weather resistant barrier incorporated in all of that stuff. You have to build these layers to make that assembly piece by piece. But this product is an that incorporates all of those things. So it's it's a sheet good that has I think it's about 2 inches of polyiso. That's your first layer. And then on top of that, you have this EPS material that's glued to it. And that's 1 inch thick, and incorporated above that 1 inch layer are like slats made of that EPS to allow for airflow. And then on top of that, you have your sheet good. And all of those are glued together to create this assembly that's already done for you. So you basically get longer screws, and you screw this right to your joists or your rafters, and you need a long screw, make sure you get through all that material. And then you can do your weather resistant barrier on top of that sheet good. But what a great product. I think a big time saver, and also something that's really going to help the energy efficiency of the house.
I think this is interesting in many ways, but I mean, in our world, we talk about trips around the house, right? And this is a common, I think, misconception for homeowners. The product itself that you're talking about is more expensive, maybe than all of the individual parts, right? Like if you were to combine the cost of the insulation and your rain screen and your sheathing, they might cost less than this actual product. But the advantage it has is your people who are installing it are going around the house less times. Meaning, like if you go around the house once to put on your sheathing, that takes X amount of time. If you go around again to put on your rain screen, that takes time. If you go around again for insulation, it takes more time. And compared to the material, especially in our market, labor is much more expensive. So the more you can limit the trips around the house, the more you save. So the product itself, right, it might be more expensive, but it's less expensive in the long run when you factor in labor. Not only that, you've created each of those layers of the assembly in a factory. So the details, the way those layers went together is done as well as can be expected, right? So you're getting quality, and in the long run, you're saving money as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I couldn't agree more. Sometimes you just have to really weigh those options, right? You're going to pick a more expensive product, but if you get that 2 for 1, that 3 for 1, you're saving those trips around the house. You're saving on labor, which you said is more expensive, especially in our market, than the material costs. Of course, there are some aspects of building where we find the material costs are very expensive, depending on what the homeowners choose. But more times than not, you're spending more on labor than material. You're going to talk about our next topic, but I had talked to you about this previously before we brought it up on the show, and you brought up something interesting on maybe you can utilize it in a different way. But again, I don't actually even know the name of this product. We'll have to dig in a little bit, and maybe down the road, as you start, you'll talk about what you've got going on over there. Maybe you'll end up talking to the rep for this company and seeing if you can use it in a bit of a different way. But go ahead, why don't you kick things off and talk about your topic?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to smush our next two segments together, just because it's so related, and it does tie into the product that you just talked about. I just got an estimate for some work I'm going to do at my place here in Maine, and like every single homeowner in the world, like that estimate is more than you want it to be, right? And so the process, like I put together my priorities of what I wanted to accomplish in this phase one of a much bigger, longer term remodel. And it's focused really on energy efficiency. So I'm replacing some critical windows, insulating my attic space. And because I'm doing the windows, I'm going to remove and replace my exterior siding on 3 walls of my house. And so, that leads to a whole bunch of associated costs, right? And the number it just keeps creeping up. And so I'm at a place where I'm a little bit uncomfortable, right? But I know that I want to work with this contractor. The contractor just completed some work for my father, and I know his attention to detail. He has a very similar mindset to us. A lot of homeowners at this point would see that shocking number and they would go out and they would get another bid, right? Another couple bids. Like, I know I can find a cheaper contractor. That's easy. Like, I can do that tomorrow. If it's just about finding the cheapest person on the planet, I can do that. But I want to take care of my house, right? I want this house to serve me the best it can for the rest of my life. And so I've found my contractor. I now need to work with him and tackle as much as I can for the budget that I'm comfortable with. And so we'll sit down later this week and we might remove a couple of items from that estimate just to get to a place that I can live with budget wise. And then we'll proceed from there, right? I'll get the person that I know is going to deliver the quality. And in this case, it means really the detail of the work. Um, Sophisticated products, but also the detailed installation. And then I'll bite off as much as I can chew, and I'm going to be happy, right?
Yeah, what sort of detailed installation are you talking about? Are you gonna be doing insulating the exterior, the attic? What's going on?
Yeah. So right now, my attic is a mess. I don't know, 60 years of chipmunks and mice and stuff nesting up there. So removing everything that's up there, giving it a good clean, air sealing everything up in that space, blowing in like we'll do an R60 up there in the attic. And then on the outside, once we remove the existing siding, um, probably going to put in 4 inches of outboard insulation. Now that product we're still kind of going back and forth between two. So I'll update you on what we decide to go with. But we're going to do continuous insulation on the outside of the house and then some nice James Hardy siding over that.
And this is where you had asked me, can you install that stuff that I was talking about vertically on the exterior? I mean, gosh, it seems like if they made this product, that sheet good with zip, why wouldn't they, that seems like the next thing for a company like Zip to make, right?
It sure does. I mean, like what I'm trying to accomplish, I'm looking for every surface I touch, I'm looking for that air barrier. I'm looking to maximize my insulation. Maximize is the wrong word. I'm looking to add to my R value on any surface that I touch. I want a nice draining and drying plane, and then I want a very very durable, low maintenance siding product on top of that. Right now, my windows that I'm replacing, they're single pane. Like the glazing has fallen out of most of it. It's amazing the panes are still in there. So we'll greatly upgrade the window package. And I mean, not only am I going to get that R value, but just having functioning windows will be nice.
Yeah, that's gonna be nice. That's gonna be a game changer for your house. I was just thinking though, that product that I talked about, right? That airflow that you would get, it's really designed to keep shingles cool, but it's you don't get that drainage dry factor. I think if you use it on as a siding, right? You'd have to figure out how to vent those up top and down below. But we can talk about that more later
Yeah.
as my
But I
brain
mean,
starts.
that it's very similar, right? This, getting an estimate and deciding how much you can bite off to something that you're dealing with, like on the job right now, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I think that ties into something interesting on a project, right? Like we have a small job going on right now, but the homeowner had met with us and made a decision right, kind of right away. I think look, we're lucky enough. I think we have a really good reputation in our neck of the woods over here, and they made a decision to work with us pretty immediately, but you get something different. I think when you work with us, we care. We want to make something that lasts a long time. We pride ourselves on our communication, and we're not just covering up something that is done incorrectly. And we sure found some interesting things that needed to be repaired once we started peeling back some layers. But again, that just kind of goes into your story of look, sometimes you find that person that you trust, and you have to come up with ways to be able to do what you want to do for the budget that you have. And we really pride ourselves on analyzing a project and taking into account the budget. No matter who you are, the budget is always important, and really trying to get as much as we can for that budget.
Yeah, I mean, you're just a week in now on this project, and it's that discovery phase that we often talk about. And you can see that, when they sold this house the last time, somebody did some quick work, right? And they didn't address some kind of core problems, and they were covered up. So as you peel back, you found some real dry rot areas. You found some stuff that had no structure under it, right? And then, it's like you said, you could cover that up. You could piece it back together and get 5 years out of it, but you're really not addressing the problems. And so, like, kind of exposing what the problem is, getting to the heart of it, correcting it, and building like a structure that's got some integrity to it, right? That's going to last a long time. That's what we're about, right? We want houses that live long lives.
No doubt. I mean, there's also a fine balance, right? In the remodeling world, you have to be careful, right? Because there is a budget, and each layer that you peel back, you might find something that needs attention, right? So this is kind of where you have to be smart and wise and know that you're dealing with safety, and we've handled that part of it. We're talking about a kind of a big entry staircase, exterior staircase. But you could tell, like, if you dig in a little deeper and go beyond that staircase, you're going to find more things. But this is where you have to be careful with budget, right? You have to know your client and have those conversations and say, hey, look, we could peel back a little bit more. There might be something here, but it's going to cost more money, and let the homeowner decide if they want you to keep peeling back. Make sure that you've dealt with the area of concern, which is something that we've done, and made that safe and last a long time, right? Like you said, we don't want to just put shims on top of rot and pack things out with finished material, and then in 5 years you have issues, right? We want our repair to last another 50, 60 years or
Yeah.
longer.
Being wise, I think, is the phrase you used. Like, I'm going to be faced with that decision. So the things that I talked about, like, in order for me to get back into my comfort zone with the budget, what I'll probably remove from the project will be the things that people will actually see. And that's very hard for people to get their head around, right? I'll probably pull out, I was going to do a little bit of lighting, and I was going to do a little bit of finish work. And those are the things that people would actually see. So most people would say, well, those are the obvious ones to do. But to me, the place I'm going to spend my money is going to get covered up. All the insulation nobody will ever see, but it'll lead directly to the comfort and the durability of the house, right? And so that's where my money has to go. And I'm going to sacrifice on the pretty things.
Yeah, and I think moving forward, I think that's a good point. I think the way we're building houses now, the most important part of the build is the part that you don't see. And that's different than the way things used to be, right? You would keep it pretty basic inside the walls, and you'd gussy up the outside. But now, with the way things are moving in the direction we want, the way we want our houses to survive a long, long time, you gotta spend that money on the things you can't see, and take a different approach, and maybe save some money on the things that you can.
I think that's right. Well, man, that was a great one. I need to get back to vacationing.
Yeah, you
So
do.
we'll tune in again next week, and I'm still going to be on vacation.
And you actually have internet that works in Maine. I didn't know they had that, but
I'm piggybacked
that's
off
great.
my cell phone. There's no Wi-Fi here, so we're on the cell tower.
Nice, nice. All right, everybody. Well, thanks again for joining us for another great episode. Adam,
And I'm Pace.
thank you.
See ya.
Thanks for joining us on Build Connected. For more stories, insights, and ideas, visit diamondhomerestoration.com or find us on Instagram and LinkedIn. We'll be back next week. We hope you will too.